Thank you for tuning in to Pop-Off with James. This is episode 2.5 of season 2. There will be no guests today, but please enjoy all the best pop-offs from season 1. If you want to watch us on YouTube, you can at Pop-Off with James, or you can follow us on Instagram.
Katie Flood.
And I noticed you said that you thought Lexi had a good edit. And
yeah, so considering what you guys saw and what we saw, she got a good edit for her behavior. I think considering how she really acted, she definitely got a better edit. She doesn't agree, but she never would, so.
Yeah, I think mostly what people will be asking when they're watching this is when you mentioned that she was saying stuff about Hannah and stuff. Can you tell us at all anything about that, or would you rather not?
She was just, I honestly don't really remember now, but like she was really coming at Malia for obviously that situation that happened on season 5. You know, Malia's taken a lot of heat for that. And she was kind of just like throwing that in her face. And then obviously Malia's like, you don't know me and you watch the show and you think you know me. And like, I think this is the hardest part for people to understand is people don't know us. Like you watch us, you see certain aspects, but that's not 100% me. Like there's way more to me and there's way more to Malia as well. So she was just kind of going off about that, about how she threw Hannah under the bus and just all the shit that you guys saw, basically just calling her out for that. And you know, and Malia was like saying to her at the time, like, you cannot talk about this. Like she would just do a lot of things that we weren't allowed to do or talk about, you know. So that's why it didn't make it to air.
That's probably like a good like playbook for somebody who's getting a bad edit and they just don't want like it to be added to their storyline, so they just break all the rules so it doesn't get added.
She even take away all that stuff, she still did enough damage to herself, you know. If you take away all those things that we're not meant to do or not meant to talk about. You know, Matt did it a little bit as well. He would say things and we're just like, Matt, like you can't do that, like stop. Like you know, like you have to have some respect for the show and what they're trying to do. And, you know, they obviously, it's very clear because every season they have pretty much a new cast, and they want to keep it fresh so they don't have the drama. Like obviously there's little storylines.
Heather Chase.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, or do you want to skip over that?
No, we can talk about it.
Okay. So has your life been affected at all since what happened between you and Rayna and like the whole world kind of seeing that play out? Have you had any experiences like professional or anything like that where that kind of
I mean, I've had 2 dream job offers that have offered me the job with an incredible salary, and then both incidences, they've Googled me and they like saw the apology on my Instagram, or they read some of the articles and they were just like, we don't want to be associated with this. You know, we run high-end companies and we don't want anyone to find out and put that on us and say that we are associated with something like this. So,
sorry that happened to you.
That just happened again, like maybe not even 5 weeks ago. You know, it's really difficult. And I'm trying to just look at it as every action has a reaction. And one day the reaction will turn in my favor. And until then, I'm just going to keep learning the lessons and taking the hits until it kind of subsides.
You know, that's a good way to look at it. You kind of have like an optimist outlook, kind of, you know, this is how it's happening right now. Hopefully, you know, as time passes kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the way that the world is right now.
No, 100%. I mean, 100%. The world is just in a very interesting space, and a space that we've needed to be in too, you know, like these things have totally needed to be addressed. In episode 12, I think, when I apologized to her, I can't remember what episode it was, when we sat down before crew day off, like I had found out at the end of a charter And that night we all went out. So I remember being like, okay, she's already started drinking. I don't want to talk to her right now. I don't want to talk to her while I'm drinking. I don't want this to be an escalated thing.
Like the chief stew in you, right?
Yeah, I was like, this could just go terrible. If booze is involved, like, I just don't want this to get rowdy. So I was like, I'll do this tomorrow before we all go out for the crew day. And I know it kind of caught her off guard, but I just wanted to get the elephant out of the room and do it before we all started drinking.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had that heart to heart and we talked about it. Like, I just wish there could have been open and honesty on like, hey, kudos to you for apologizing, but I don't need to accept that. I'm going to work on my inner stuff. We don't need to be friends. We can work together and just move on. And I would have like much rather appreciated that, because if I think we're all good, I'm going to be my exuberant, wild self. Like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Because that's how I keep crew morale going. I don't withhold any bit of myself. So I just wish I kind of would have known that's how she really felt, because then I wouldn't have been so like hard pressing on trying to create a relationship with her. So yeah, that's an elephant in the room too. It was like hard to sit back and see that. It's like I was being led one way and you're telling everyone else another way. And that's when it gets hard. It's like, I wish people could just have transparency, really. She doesn't owe me anything, but like to know that would have helped me to help the situation.
Yeah, definitely. What I wonder, in other workplaces, maybe an option would have been to kind of pause everything, like put down the cameras and then have like that open conversation with the crew and everybody, and then kind of agree, is this going to end now, or is this going to be kind of like a storyline for the rest of the season? Do you kind of wish that you would have done that so maybe it wouldn't have been used? Or, you know, it's like a very sticky situation, right? I think maybe they could have had a season without adding all that inside.
Yeah, I mean, the episode when you see Fraser tell me why Rayna's upset, I blacked out that night. Like, I don't remember much. I could see it in my eyes when she's like talking to me in the crew mess. I didn't remember much from that night. So when he told me, it like had hit me like a ton of bricks, because I did not just work so hard my entire life for this to be the thing that people learn about me from. Because that is not my character or who I am at my core in any way, shape, or form. You know, especially the way that I grew up, it was like, this could not be happening. This is an attack on my integrity and who I am. But I made a fuck up. But, you know, just the scariness of like how that can be taken. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion is where it, you know, it gets heavy. So had I wished they could have stopped and dropped the cameras and talked about it? Hell yeah, I do. Are you kidding me? What do you mean? If I could have stopped that whole, they could have told me, go fuck Jake right now on the bow and we'll leave it all out. I would have given them the best show of their lives, you know, like I really would have. But, you know, unfortunately, that's not the cards we were dealt. And, you know, we didn't really have much other drama than that our season. It's not like someone was hooking up with 1,000 people. So it's tough. It's tough.
Well, looking back, do you kind of almost wish that you would have maybe just like walked off the boat and just kind of quit the show, or so that wouldn't have been your storyline? Or
it has crossed my mind in the past, like I should have just left. But again, like I said, I didn't really understand the severity of it. You know, had I known that it was being talked that much about behind me and without my involvement and in another way than how people were portraying it to me, I probably would have. But to my understanding, it was something we were moving forward from, that she felt comfortable, that, you know, everyone was kind of on the same page. That's what I was told. But if I'd known that it was just going to play out, I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't ever want to think I'd bow out of something. Like I said, I'll always admit when I'm wrong, but that doesn't mean I can take myself out of my livelihood and remove myself from a situation. It's hard because workplace environment has to be cohesive and healthy. And to think that I was someone who made that not, there was an investigation, you know, did we handle this the right way that it should have been dealt with? There was a sit down, like, both agreed.
Behind the scenes, you mean?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And Lee talked about it at the reunion. You know, there was an investigation done by HR. We have an HR team that is part of NBC, part of Bravo. They interviewed every single crew member. Like, did we handle this the right way? You know, if it was handled to a T the way it should have been. So I don't think I would have ever walked off, because I always want to prove myself that I am not that person. And I want to prove to other people that you don't need to run away and hide.
See Tempers.
Okay, the next game we're going to play is Never Have I Ever. And I got this off of your appearance on Watch What Happens Live. So you take a drink if you've done it, or you don't take a drink if you have not. So never have I ever dropped a guest.
No.
You had to really think about that one, no?
Trying to think of like other times that I've been around people.
Never have I ever lied on my resume.
It's like like something small.
Just a little bit, right? Like,
yeah.
Never have I ever dated a crew. You and Courtney dated, right?
No, I wouldn't call that dating. I
No.
wouldn't call that dating.
Did you actually really like her, or was it kind of just like being like flirty?
No, I think I really did like Courtney. I mean, I think we just got along super, super well.
Yeah.
And we just cared for each other a lot. But I think bit off that we are just good as friends. I think definitely for the better.
Never have I ever filmed a reality show twice. We'll just skip that one, okay? Because I don't want to get you in trouble. Never have I ever lied to your captain to save a coworker's ass.
Was there? I mean, is not saying something lying?
Lying by way of omission, I guess.
Yeah.
Take one just in case.
Riley Gerber.
Who did Laura replace?
Caroline,
Oh, yeah.
my roommate.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you about Caroline. Yes, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Because I don't know. I feel like I identify with so many people. Like, I feel like she was kind of like awkward, but she like tried to like have a personality and fit in. And I feel like I've been like that before. And so like, I don't know.
I've never met anybody like Caroline.
No, really?
Nobody. I would hope you don't identify with her. I have never met anybody like Caroline
Really?
in my life.
I mean, like, what makes you say that? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm saying it might get me canceled. I think Caroline, is a very unique individual that I don't think she was meant for television. And I think, she struggled very much, with it and with, how it was going down. And I think she more so struggled and spiraled after the show,
Really?
publicly. Oh yeah. Like I remember, how public she was like on Twitter and stuff. And she didn't really come after me or anything. Like she didn't have anything to come after me about. Like even when there was a couple instances on like during filming, like, what planet are you on right now? Because it was weird. And she didn't come after me. She said one thing, but I don't even remember what it was. And I was just like, okay, this chick, I'm just going to distance myself as much as I can from her, because I think that's the safest thing to do. I don't know. I mean, God love her, because I would hate that, she perhaps is stuck on a spiral from it, and maybe didn't know how to get herself out of it. Like I would hate if she could not help herself, but I don't know, because again, I've never met anybody like her.
Can you give me like an example of what you mean? Like, does she have weird habits behind closed doors?
I mean, definitely weird habits. Like, well, first of all, I mean, everybody on the show, it seemed like, smokes, and I hate smoking. It makes me sick. She was a chain smoker, which tells me there's a little bit of neurosis going on there. Like, what causes you to have to smoke a whole pack within, an hour or two? There was always just something wrong, and it was like, what is it now? Like, what is it that's ailing you now? It was hard. I was a roommate, so I did try to be like conscientious to her feelings as I could, but fuck, man, she was just, there was a couple times, and it didn't air it, but like, it was so weird. I got into an issue with her one time, and I had already had it. I was fed up with the guys, and she'd been smoking all night long and in and out of that room, and like, we had different schedules because she's a stew and I was on deck. So I was exhausted. I was fed up. And then in the morning, like, I think she had just slammed the door to go smoke a cigarette at like 4:30 in the morning. And I get up at like 5 to do my earlies or whatever. And I go into the bathroom and there's no fucking toilet paper. And, we have to share a space. And like, Kate, I was her roommate too the next season. And while Kate's not like the cleanest roommate, she didn't have poor hygiene. One other one did. Like, I was, forced to like deal with like contacts like stuck to counters and shit, and so there's no toilet paper, and I go and I'm like stomping around to go get some fucking toilet paper, like just pissed off. And it's not like getting simple toilet paper from a closet, like you go down into the bilge and shit like that. Like, I have to pee, so I'm pissed. I noticed there's like a dirty tampon on the floor, and I had said something to her like, away from cameras. She tried to like, well, maybe you tried to plant that tampon and just make me look bad. And I was like, are you fucking nuts? Like, are you fucking nuts? Like, I don't understand what is happening right now. And it was like this whole blowout. And I was like, just get the fuck out of my face. I'll come back on my break, which is 10 hours later. And if it's still there, like, then we're going to have some issues. Shit was still there. And I was just like, mother of God. Like, it was just a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. Like, where my attitude was a lot, she was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, do you think like she was a little bit like mentally disturbed, I guess?
She at one point, like, I know that I was asked if I had seen her take anything, and I couldn't, say either way. I had seen obviously prescription bottles. I didn't look into them. I don't care enough. It's like, that's her shit.
You're not Malia.
No, I don't care. I would never, like, unless somebody was putting my life in danger, if she's got orange prescription bottles, who know, and obviously she was a little unstable. So I could only, assume what I thought it might be, perhaps she needed like a Xanax or something. I don't know.
Scarlett Bentley.
Pretty official.
So, fuck, marry, kill. Gary, Barnaby, or Marcos?
Not this game again.
How original, right?
Yeah. We played this in the van ride one night. Wait, who are my options? Gary, Colin, and Marcos?
Gary, Barnaby, and Marcos.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like Barnaby, he wouldn't be like your obvious first pick, but he's got like a really good personality, and I think that kind of, I don't know, I think he's kind of handsome too.
I would say marry Barnaby, fuck Gary, kill Marcos.
Oh, why kill Marcos just because you have to kill somebody?
Yeah.
I feel like I would totally marry Marcos because he would cook for you and you would always eat so well.
That is true. And he is an incredible chef. I don't know. I feel like Barnaby, he was great. He was such a fun personality to be around that I would like want that in my life forever.
Yeah, like I feel like he would always have the water sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, true. Which I love, so I'm down.
What was like the biggest surprise about being on a reality show that you weren't kind of prepared for?
Just how you really do have no personal space. I mean, everything you do, everything you say, a third party is hearing. And it was an adjustment for sure. So that was, I would say, probably the biggest shock, which, I mean, I should have known. I just didn't realize the extent of it, but you get used to it pretty quickly.
Brooke Laughton.
Did you, because, Hannah had already been on the show for a while. So had Sandy. You were a chief stew or working on a yacht before, and then you're joining this yacht with like reality stars. Did you feel like you were around reality stars more, or do you feel like you were just joining like another yacht?
And it was like they were TV stars. They weren't like respected chief stew captains. Not in my opinion. Like it was. It's about the cameras and creating the story, and they knew what they were doing, and that's why they've been around for so long. So that was also a bit of a shock for me. That ultimately I was the one that was doing everything on that boat, because it kind of was all about like getting stories and everything. Yeah. Oh, here's my dog.
Hey. He's like, what the hell?
And the podcast.
So cute. Oh my God, what's his name?
Marley. It's a girl.
Aww.
But she's going to live with my ex-fiance from tomorrow.
Donisaurus.
It's kind of like a touchy subject, but we can cut it if you don't want it. But so this season with the whole Gary thing and Ashley thing, do you want to touch on that, or do you want to skip over that?
To be honest, I feel like people are so passionate and there is so much controversy. Is that the word?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard because I can see why people are so passionate about it. I can see what people are seeing as well. And I can see that people are saying, even if what they think happens, Gary wouldn't say anything about it because he could be embarrassed, he could be ashamed or whatever. But the only thing I was going to say is that apparently there was more to that night. There was more to the scene that it wasn't shown. And why was there more? It was showing that Gary was with it, if you get what I mean. But I don't feel like I can give an opinion based on a clip on TV. I wasn't there. I didn't see the whole scene. So I can't really go and point fingers to such a serious thing because of 10 seconds on TV. So
such a good answer. Yeah. What do you think it is about Gary, though? I feel like everyone just loves Gary.
There is something about Gary, I don't know. He has something that he's very charming. I think he grew up with women and he knows how to make you feel special with just looking at you, talking to you, give you the right amount of attention. I don't know. There is definitely something about Gary.
Yeah, it's like all of the women just throw themselves at Gary, and he'll just like, okay, I'll take you first, I'll take you second. You know what I mean?
Benny Crawley.
So Hannah's like one of my all-time favorite below deck people ever, and I just always ask this question just because it's such a hot topic. We won't dig too far into it, but I just want to get like your opinion. So on other boats, do you see like if somebody says give me a Tylenol or give me a Gravol or something, is that very stringent, like you have to go to a book and you have to log it kind of thing? Do you experience that on other yachts that you've worked on?
Look, I'll just say that I used to at some point use prescription medication. I had a little bit on a yacht and I never had to log anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I don't know what the situation is here. Like, I haven't really seen that happen a lot. I haven't, it's not. It depends on the nature of the medicine, of course. But yeah.
Melissa Feister.
Okay, so before I answer that question, I want to interject one thing, okay? I want to tell you a funny story, okay? So I think I'm funny, right? So this one time I took this selfie that I thought was like really good. Like, damn, like you're looking good, blah, blah, blah. So I posted it on Below Deck Above Average, and I was like, hey guys, like there's this guy, James Pike. He's going to be the new captain of the new franchise of Below Deck. He likes this. And I made up like this character, right? And then I posted it. And then, oh my God, people were so mean. They were like, look at those lips.
Of course, because that's what they do.
Exactly. And they were like, oh, like what's with that tan? Like that looks terrible. Like blah, blah, blah. So because I put myself out there and I made that situation, I was prepared for that. So it didn't really hurt my feelings, but I just thought I think it was a funny story to tell.
I mean, they will say anything, hiding behind their, computer and just blasting off. But that's what they do. Like that people, there's definitely more.
Chef Ryan.
Aisha has a ton of followers, and believe it or not, all the hate I'm getting is just from like Aisha's super fans. They don't even care that the primaries and charter guests are chiming in about how much they love me, and they got what they asked for. It's what they put on their product. Like they're so biased and they see right past it. It's like they only want to watch and listen to that miserable laugh that, believe it or not, I get so much love on how much people cannot take what she says and how she is. I mean, she is arrogant in my eyes, and her laugh and that bubbly, giddy personality, it's a fucking front for how nasty she really is.
Really? So do you think that there's part of her that we haven't seen, that you've seen, that you're kind of alluding to, or what?
Hey, man, she's a fan favorite. She's going to get portrayed one way, and that's, I accept it and I'm okay with it. It is what it is. She's not ready to be a chief stew. It's just, she has no idea. Like communication, there was none with her. If she tells me 8 o'clock and then my food's ready at 8 o'clock, she goes, oh, the guests aren't ready. Well, you told me 8 o'clock. So,
So what you're saying is like, it's her job to be like, hey, food's ready. Like, let's get ready for dinner kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
If I'm hanging out in a hot tub and I requested my dinner at 8 o'clock, if I'm still in the hot tub at 8 o'clock and somebody doesn't tell me like, hey, it's, dinner time, they want to eat.
Just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who tunes in every week. Please catch a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, I will be back to normal programming with a crew member from Below Deck. I hope you liked this episode. If you haven't seen season 1, I hope this gave you a bit of a taste and you're going to go back and watch it. Please give me 5 stars on where you get your podcasts. You can watch the video version on YouTube, and please follow me on Instagram. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.